order. This meeting of the trustees of the Lamesa Independent School District is now in order. It is 4 p.m. on December 17, 2024. A quorum is present with all board members present except Cindy Martinez. This meeting has been duly called and the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Mr. Ritchie, would you please lead us in prayer?
Yes, ma'am. If you would please bow with me. Dear Lord, thank you for our community. Thank you for our board. Thank you for our students, our staff. Thank you for the people that take time to come to board meetings, to all of our events. We are extremely blessed, and it's this time of year where you think more about your blessings and you think more about the people that support you and just everything that this community means for our students and how much everyone wants our students to be successful. So just watch over everyone involved. Keep everybody safe over the holidays. Let everyone enjoy their food, their friends, their family, but make sure everybody gets back to us safe and we can start January 2025 off the right way. Watch over us tonight. Watch over us moving forward, and thank you for everything you do for us. In your name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
No, ma'am.
We don't have any student parent recognition, but do we?
Yes, ma'am. I do have a staff recognition.
Sorry. I thought we already said it.
I know. I'm tired of saying good things about it.
We don't want you to leave this.
This is the 10th time. But I do, and I want you to come up, Ron. I don't have any gifts for him because we've given him gifts and showered him with gifts and had lunches for him. But and I tried to make sure he's had a chance to be appreciated by everybody from principals to teachers to board to community. But I think a lot of this man, I joke with him all the time. He's done a lot for Lamesa. I'm going to talk about something later on when I do the financial report. I told him he doesn't have to do it. I'll do it. He's going to answer questions, though, one last time. But I just wanted him to have an opportunity to because y'all been really good for him, just like he's been good for y'all. He is one that Lamesa will have nothing but good memories about because he brought the knowledge, but more important to me, he just brought a really good man. And it's been a pleasure to be around you, and I've appreciated you, and I just want you to have the opportunity to say a few words one more time.
You know, I am kind of speechless about this because I feel like I do my job. You know, I just do my job, and to get such, to be received so well by the community and be so appreciated by the community is a great way for someone to leave a position. And I have a lot of heartfelt gratitude for not only for the people that I work with, but with you guys. It's I think it's been a good connection for us all. Today's felt like Thanksgiving. I've eaten all day long, getting comatose, found myself trying to go to sleep. And again, that's part of the. I'm not honestly not quite used to such good attention, and I do as a numbers guy, and I do truly appreciate being here and what y'all have done for me, not just what I've done for y'all. So you'll be greatly missed. I do care about I care about you, and every now and then I'll sneak up here and surprise everybody.
Well, before you sit down, Rodnell, do you mind coming up as well? I talked about this earlier today. The last few years of my coaching career, I started something that I really liked. And whenever our seniors left us, I made all of our other people go by, shake their hand, and just tell them thank you. And if y'all don't mind, I want to get a picture with him, but I'd like everybody he's going to disappear. I'd like everybody to shake his hand. Tell him we appreciate him. Then I'd like to get a picture with everybody involved. Because you matter a lot. And so do you, Ronnell. Thank you for lending him to us.
Maybe I cracked the people.
Our pleasure.
Thank you. And board, don't sit down. We're going to get a big picture before and don't let him fool you. He loves the attention. He loves the attention.
Make me cry.
questions, I see every morning.
Yes, she does.
Always.
Yes, Miss Hughes. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Don't sit down, sir.
Just kneel down.
My days are like that.
Hey,
Oh, that's
Thank
right.
you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm getting in the way.
Frankie, would you get a picture? Once they're done, get a picture. Rondell, come on over here. We're going to get a picture of y'all with all of
Well,
us.
Ernest has one of them.
Again, thank you very much.
All right, come on board. Ron, Rondell, y'all are in the middle.
We're in the middle.
Thank you.
Thanks. Absolutely.
Sharp people in the middle.
That means me? No.
Yeah, come on up.
Are we
Come over
ready?
here by us. So we can, there you go.
There we go.
There we go.
Let's wait and move behind.
On three. 1, 2, 3.
Retirement.
Hold on. Okay.
Thank you.
I know. My eyes go.
I'll get you.
I'll just say, this is your place there.
Now we're really gonna let Kevin do this to me, Rebecca, and Ron.
Cindy's trick that
Put
Put that chair down there.
Lose.
That one's still good. You just gotta bounce.
No, because you're rude. You could have done that earlier.
Well, we waited right until 4:01.
Whatever.
That's a Lone Ranger chair.
Running in on this anyway. Okay.
All right, I guess now we'll go to routine district operations consent agenda minutes.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Now we'll do the financial report. You're up, Richie.
Yes, ma'am. We'll look at this. Take this with me. All right, just going page to page as always. And again, Mr. Tulchik, Mr. Mann, April, Rebecca, Ernest, y'all, Melissa, y'all lock and load one last hard question for him. I don't know what it is. Because he hasn't looked at it as much as I have. So he doesn't want
Yeah.
I haven't even bring it.
These meetings felt really close together, I'm not going to lie. So a lot of the percentages on that first page haven't changed a whole lot. We are still having a few annual expenses hit us, but most of our annual stuff, most of the ones, if you look down that 1, 2, 3rd column from the right, there's still some insurance in that deal. There's a couple of annual contracts. Some of the same stuff we talked about last time is still sitting in there. I'm going to go through a lot of this, and then I'll let y'all ask me questions. I'm going to let Ron explain this one because I haven't had time because he wrote on this, the one that's waiting for posting. And that one right there.
On the revenue side, that was revenue year to date, and this report was given to Richie before we have completely reconciled the bank statements. And if you look on your copies, you'll see what we're at about 2.
So y'all's looks different than
Yes.
I print this out well before because I go through and mark it up pretty good.
Yes. I try to get it to him a good week before.
The main thing I always look at is the check registry, so I'm going to jump to that and then I'll jump back to some of this other stuff. One thing I wanted to point out on the check registry, and this is a compliment to Ron, this is a compliment to our staff, our teachers, to y'all. I went back and tracked this is my 20th month, which it's flown by, 20th month in this role, and over those 20 months, the average check registry has been over $200,000 less than the 20 months prior. That adds up. And I mean, it's nothing major. It's just him getting into that role and kind of he's a very nice guy, but he also sometimes had to say no and concentrating on making sure little things, lights off, they know I walk every school every Saturday and turn off any lights that were left on. And just little things like that add up. And we're proud of that. That's 20 months with the $200,000 average. Now, unfortunately, things cost more. So it's not showing up the way that you would wish, but numbers are numbers, and we are proud of that. Looking at the check registry, this month for me had a lot of non-surprising things. Lots of travel on that first page. Volleyball was wrapping up, football was wrapping up, band was wrapping up, and so we're kind of going to switch where you're about to see more basketball travel, softball travel, baseball travel. It all kicks up really fast. I mean, in that first month of January, basketball's already starting district, and by the time we have our next board meeting, softball's going to be about to practice, baseball's right behind it, and powerlifting will have already started. Things happen fast. Band is to more individual stuff with UIL, ensemble, solo ensemble stuff, and then of course skills will be kicking up, pretty soon. On that second page, the big one on that one is at the very bottom, and it's another annual subscription to Eduphoria, which is going to hit us one time. At the top, we had some technology stuff. I am going to comment on Skyward here in a minute because we are about to make a change on that, and I'm excited about it, so remind me before I sit down to kind of talk about that. Page 3 of the check registry, again, normal stuff, food pantry, we got Aramark on there. I need to quit charging us so much, it's expensive. A lot of first of the year supplies, and like when you see ELAR, when you see science, like that's for the whole department. That wasn't for one teacher. A lot of the CTE supplies hit us this time. Our legal fees this time around were a little much. I have learned that every time I even say hello to Holly, we get charged. So I've tried to be a little bit more of a stranger, but sometimes things come up where I've got to talk to her. TASBO membership is on the page 4. There's some more curriculum stuff. Our OT, I always mark it. It's on there every month. Kathy Moore we have to contract our occupational therapy services, phone services on that. Page 5, electricity, custodian supplies. That's not we try to buy custodian supplies in 6 month span. But when you run out, and you do what we got to do to replace. We've really tried with Albert to stop he's done a good job with to stop the constant small purchases and make big purchases at once, because that means you're planning what you need and not buying. You're planning and not being reactionary. We had some gas pressure tests we had to do. Those are kind of grouped together right in the middle of page 5. Water bill down towards the bottom of that. Page 6 was pretty uneventful. Page 7 had a couple big ones. Middle school yearbook. Major Clarity is another annual purchase that is used by the high school. We use it with some middle school kids, don't we? Or we just use it for all high school kids?
That's mastery record that you know.
That's for our, okay, so that one's for all high school kids. Navigate 360. Carter and I were talking beforehand, and I'm just going to touch base on it because it does affect financials. We know there was another school shooting yesterday. And I read, every time there's a school shooting, and I could tell Carter did too, I read a lot about it because I'm always wanting to learn what happened and what could we have done had that been us. And the last two, we get TA intruder audits all the time, and that's the service center coming and trying to get in outside doors. We do weekly door sweeps that we have to turn in. The last two have not been intruders. The last two have been students from that school. And there was the comment made with this most recent one. It was a handgun. They do not have metal detectors, but they have cameras. And so she was able to get in because there is no metal detector. And what we are about to install, those open gates, it would have caught it, right? It would have caught it because it's designed to catch what they call mass casualty weapons, which any kind of handgun is. But I also tell my principals, and they do a good job of it, greeting every day. And we greet every day for 2 reasons. I believe in it because you got it. I believe it at the door for teachers too because you want to build relationships. But the other reason, and I told the principals today, if you're greeting every single day, and I told Carter, I refuse to believe that girl walked into school yesterday and didn't have something different, look something different, be wearing something different. Something had to be different because she was about to do the unthinkable. And if you see that kid walk by you every single day, that's the goal, is when you see somebody that looks different, wearing different, acting different, figure it out. And I think that, man, I hope it never happens in Lamesa because I think you can try everything and people can get in. And bad things can happen no matter what you do, but I do think that we take it very seriously. We are going to roll those open gates out the Monday we come back, or the Tuesday. The kids will come back Tuesday. I've got the procedures ready to go. I'm probably going to send them on Sunday to the community and on Monday again, because we want to be transparent of what it's going to look like for your kids when they walk in. But all that does is make me realize, even if it's a little uncomfortable, it's worth it. And I think any parent of a kid that's been involved in those would tell you, I'd absolutely would have took my kid being inconvenienced versus having somebody come in the cafeteria with a handgun. So it's disturbing, but I do want y'all to know every time it happens, we read about them, we talk about them, and we figure out what are we not doing that we can do to hopefully keep this from happening. Off track, sorry. Page 9, the top one, we had to purchase some additional iPads, but those are going to be on a rotational thing. There's a big science one in the middle, but that was for the entire middle school. And again, they're not spending anything. If it's in here, it was in their budget. And so even when you see a high thing, that means that's probably the only time they will buy something all year long, but they bought them for the whole year. Now, we lease copiers. That's something me and Ron have had to talk about more this year than we ever thought we would because of one of our audits, and it's something we're going to kind of look into. We've been leasing audits since I came here in 2012. They put that into play well before me, but we're going to kind of look at what that looks like moving forward rather than owning our own, because it does get pricey. That carries on to page 10. Page 11, there's some CTE stuff at the top. More travel for the end of band and the end of football on those 2 pages. You got one more annual subscription on page 12, and then on page 13, the only big ones I saw were tools and paint, which go to what I was saying earlier. We're kind of trying to make sure we plan ahead instead of reactionary. But the big number at the bottom, and I look at that every time, is what we spent. Even this time last year, so this check registry a year ago was $507,296.62. So from last December to this December, we went from that to what it is today, $446, $456. If you go back to December of 2022, the check registry was $1,648,109.
That's a lot.
That's $1 million less than what we just spent. That matters.
Like construction going on.
Yeah.
It does, but there's a lot in there too. $1 million is $1 million. So we're proud of it. Ron's trying to tell us we ain't doing good. Come on now, Ron.
No, I
Make us feel good. I'm just kidding. You're right. You're right.
I think there probably was a payment somewhere. Yeah. Sorry.
No.
I was just thinking construction.
Ron, I thought I paid you money, man. Any questions over all that? And direct
You're like,
them right over there to that
person,
man.
not mine.
Yeah, direct them right over there to that man.
Yeah.
Who's going to be in charge of your metal detectors? Who's going to be running them?
So the only ones the SROs and admin, anything that has to do with the detector itself or a search will be only SROs and admin. We were trained to have a certain rotating staff of people to help regulate the kids. Like in other words, if y'all were to all come in, there's going to be a mark on all schools, and we can have a teacher tell you, okay, Ernest, stop right there, Melissa, go on through. Okay, Ernest, your turn. Rebecca, stop right there. Teachers can do that.
Okay.
But any search, anything to do with the detector will only be APs, principals, or SROs. And we're going to try to make it be as much of the same people every single day that we can so that the system stays the same and the people get used to it.
And multiples can walk through at one time?
No,
or
ma'am.
was it
One at
just
a time.
one at a time?
One at a time. And we all went. That day we tried at the middle school, there was a lot of us. Even the trainer told us the day before it's going to take forever. And even he was like, okay, this went way better. Once our kids got the hang of it, they were just blowing through it. So we think once they know what's expected of them, because basically you walk in and you have a table there and we're having a person stand here and a person here, so they're going to set their iPad here because iPad to make it go off. And they're going to push the iPad back down to the next person, they're going to walk through, pick their iPad up. When we did it right, the kid never stopped.
Yeah.
There was no stopping movement. It was set it down, walk through, get it, and go. The only time we had to stop was if it went off. And what we do then is we escort them further down the road, and then we have a wand. Just like if you were going to a concert. It's the exact same process. We give them a chance at what do you have? Do you have a charger in your pocket? Did you have something you forgot to take out? And at that point they'll take them out. There's going to be growing pains, but we feel pretty good about it.
So there will be an SRO every time it's used?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
that was my concern.
If we don't have the proper people, so they told us a lot of schools don't use them every day because the goal is to use them enough that the kids expect them to be there. What they told us is that rather than throw some people out there that haven't been trained, it's better if you don't have the right people there that morning, just don't use them that morning. Your kids are still going to follow because they think they're going to be used. Just make sure you use them the next morning when you have everybody there. Versus throwing somebody that's not done it, because that's when you're going to have a problem. They're going to accidentally take them somewhere, do some kind of search that you don't want to do. Does that make sense?
I'm worried about the search. I was worried about if the SRO is not there and the alarm goes off and the kid goes after what they have.
Well, that's one of the reasons we're glad we have 5.
Right.
Because I don't know, since we've had 5 roaches, have we had a day that we have had... We've had one absent, but we've been able to have somebody almost every single
Yes,
day.
sir.
That's been one of the pluses.
I cover. When I've got, like we said, we have one on East Campus.
Right.
Plus
One of my
you.
officers has gone sick. At middle school, Johnny at South, I go cover South.
Right.
So there's always one of us at each campus.
And I do worry about the search because before we train, even our APs, they mean well, but they were asking questions that as soon as I hear them, I'm like, that would be bad news. Like, if somebody goes off, do we take them into a room by themselves and search them? Like, that's an absolute no. But someone could mean well, not know what they're doing and do that, and then you open yourself up to, problems. So we want it done right. But we just want to protect the kids, too. And then once we get the hang of it, the goal is to get the hang of it for a week or two, then take them over to the gym and start using them for basketball games. But I want us to know what we're doing really well before we throw them out there for that first basketball game. We do have a donation, and they came once a year. They came this year on a day that I was on campus. They want a picture every year. It's in, I don't know how to say that, in Venergy Services LLC. It's Danny Keaton. I only met him a year ago because they show up with a $1,000 check, and they want to take a picture with someone in there who I think you were the lucky one to take a picture this year. But it's just $1,000. I think they do it for all of the schools in the area. And that just goes to the general fund. We have no budget amendments. We have no purchases over $50,000. Okay, again, Ron, let's go. Questions for Ron? Disappointed, Ron. Disappointed. I think I'm coming right back up after we approve this, right? So I may just stay.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
I make a motion to approve as presented.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 6-0. Okay, that's all.
All right, with it being an early board meeting, I told the principals to stay on campus. Those phones ring late. Even when the kids are gone, the scariest time at the elementary schools is if the phone rings at 4 o'clock, a kid didn't make it home on the bus. You've been there. And so I wanted them there to man phones. But I've got a lot of their information. But before I do that, let me talk about y'all's Christmas presents. I hope y'all remember running into the gentleman at the conference.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Have you looked? April?
I did. I reminded
Y'all look real quick. 2 things are in there. One of them is homemade spicy Chex
Yeah.
Mix from me, so eat at your own risk. But the other one is, I really thought it was neat, and so Burnett helped me track them down.
Where's our sneakers to go with it?
That check register you got to stay low.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
I love it. Now that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There we go.
Next, we got to wear them next year. We got to pick a day. Maybe we'll present again, and we can all wear them on that day. So
Y'all don't let me down like I did this year.
I know you were the only one that took it.
Yeah, I took my jersey. Nobody else got their jersey.
I only wear these.
Merry Christmas to you guys.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
I say this a lot. Y'all don't get thanked enough for what you do. Any board is not. You don't get paid. So, and I know all you hear a lot negative than you do positive, but it's appreciated. I am appreciative of you, and I hope I get to see you all. And enjoy the Chex Mix. If you don't like spicy, don't eat it. All right, so there's our enrollment and attendance rate. Our attendance rate for me is a bit low. We're going to try to average out. My goal by the end of the year is to average out at 94, which I will tell you, high schools I was proud of that middle school I need to get up to 94. North's is good. South is always tricky because those are the age when those mamas keep their kids home. I mean, when they feel the least bit sick, they keep those kids at home. We are down to one kid in our academy. All the others have graduated. And this one will graduate here pretty soon. So we've held pretty steady on our enrollment for a while now. I think we'll get a bit of an influx in January. We typically do. And so it'll go up a little. But we've stayed all year in between 1470 and 1490. And we kind of go up and we kind of go down in that area. But our attendance rates right now are higher than they were a year ago. So we're proud of that. I have mentioned this in my board updates, and it is on the action items today. So we approved the code of conduct at the beginning of the year. The grading policy is in it. I made no changes to the grading policy, none. But there's two things that Bauman and I thought needed clarification. The first one is that very top sentence. If a student is failing or in danger of failing at any progress period, the teacher will call the parents. That's always been an expectation, but it's still not happening enough, so we wanted to make sure we put it in policy. There's still too many times a kid fails, and when we talk to them, they're like, we never knew the kid was in danger. Well, that's a problem. So we want to make sure that most of our teachers do a really good job, that nobody can fall through the cracks. You always got to put yourself in the role of a parent. I'm going to get really mad at Hayden and Logan if they fail. But I'm going to get really mad at the teacher if I didn't know they're going to fail, because I'll make sure they don't fail if I know they're going to fail. And we got to give those parents that right. The only other thing that we altered is the bottom. And we didn't change the concept. And y'all probably went to school, and I gave this comparison with the staff earlier. Y'all probably went to school when I went to school, where if you failed the test, they gave you the test back, and you corrected the test, and you got it. So like this true false, and I answered wrong, I knew, well, it wasn't true, it's false. I didn't learn anything. I was just able to raise my grade. And we've really been trying to get away from that. We want to protect the student's average, but way more important to me than grades is them learning the concept. And so what we've tried to do is make sure there is room for students to get that 70, but not just by correcting the same thing they had. And so if you read the words, it goes through the steps for a teacher. First, they have to go through reteaching, and then they have to demonstrate concepts of understanding. And then I put in, this is not just corrections. It's not even the same assignment. It's, you've got to sit down with me. You've got to be retaught, because we have built-in time in the day on all campuses for this to happen. And then after you're retaught, you've got to show me that you've mastered this concept. Then you earn your 70. And that is the change. Do y'all have questions over that?
That's what I was going to ask, if there would be time set aside.
Absolutely.
Because,
we build this into the schedule at the beginning of the year on all campuses.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So what happens if they fail the second time?
If they don't get the concept, they get the grade. And that's been a misconception too. We don't tell our teachers, you can't give zeros. What I do tell my teacher, if I give Ernest Ojeda 10 zeros, then I better get ready for Ernest Ojeda to check it in, because if you get 10 zeros, you ain't going to pass with the class. Does that make sense? So we encourage our teachers. We never tell them what to give a grade. We just tell them to try to keep the future of that kid in mind when you do. In other words, you make a 53, right? Well, I give you to you again, and you make a 48. Well, I hope that teacher gives you the higher of those two grades, a 53. But I'm not going to make you as a teacher. Does that make sense? We try to give our teachers the right guidelines. We want them to be empowered to make the decisions, but we've got to make sure that our teachers understand. And I hope that makes sense. If I'm a kid that causes you trouble, right? And you, by the end of the first 6 weeks, my average is a 10. I'm not passing. I can make hundreds for the rest of the semester, and I ain't passing. Do you think I'm going to cause you more problems in class or less problems in class? More. Because now you've given up on me, so I'm going to give up on you. You can send that same message by giving that kid 50s, A 50 hammers me just as much as a 0, but what it doesn't do, if I get my act together with a 50, I still have time to save myself. I can get my act together with a bunch of zeros, there ain't nothing I can do about it. I failed. But we still don't make our teachers do that. We leave it up to them to use good judgment on what to do. Because if a kid's not going to give you any effort, then they deserve a 0. But sometimes a kid can give effort, and they just can't get the concept. So I need you reteaching that concept in a way that that kid can learn it. Does that make sense?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Like elementary classes, like my son, for example, if when I tell him you need to let the teacher know you got to redo this or to help you with that, he doesn't say anything. I mean, do the teachers just take whatever if the kid approaches them, or can the parents say,
Oh,
no, I
parents,
need him,
especially
because
at the
my son
elementary
will not do
level.
it.
I'm not going to lie to you, Ms. Gonzalez. At an elementary level, we probably listen to the parent more than we do the teacher. Because elementary kid, they haven't yet learned to advocate for
So
themselves.
if one parent says, I would like it retaught to help, would they offer that to the other kids, even though they're not asking, just to help them? Or
Again, if they're following that, they should know which of their kids mastered that concept. And so if your son is the outlier, they might just do it for your son. But if a good teacher gives a test, if I gave a test to all of y'all all failed it, well, that ought to tell me it wasn't y'all, it was possibly the way I taught it. Yeah. So we've got to trust that our teachers have a good read on their class, on how they all did, so they know, is this a 1, 2, 3, 4 student problem, or is this a 22 student problem? And if it's a 22 student problem, it might be an instruction problem. Does that answer that?
Yes.
Okay.
So if it's a reteach, then you have to show the teacher that you
Yes,
mastered
ma'am.
it. Then you're going to retest a different
The
test.
showing
but
is
a
that.
different-
The showing is that. That's how you show
But
me.
at a different test,
Yes, ma'am.
not the same test.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I like that.
And it might be close to the same, but we don't need you to just regurgitate it, because I was a smart kid. I could memorize anything. I never learned Spanish, the high school Spanish, but I memorized enough to pass a test. And there's going to be kids like me, yes, but the more we can get kids where they've got to show mastery of the concept, that's the goal. Anything I haven't said, Ms. Baum, that you would like to add to that?
No, just like at elementaries, with the small groups that we do, they target a lot of those. So when they see they haven't done well on this, they can target that in small groups. If they're showing mastery in that will count for that, especially if they're keeping their documentation and watching it long term.
Our goal is our big picture goal is to make our Tier 1 instruction better. That Tier 1 instruction is the first time it's taught. And, I always reference Ron on this because he lived with an elementary principal for a long time, so I know you've heard the Tier 3 and the Tier 2. Tier 2 is, you're still in the classroom, but you still have a lot that didn't quite get the concept. Maybe half of y'all did, but I've got to still work on this half. That Tier 3 is for those 2 or 3 kids that have to be pulled out and they have to get it from somewhere else. Well, there's proven studies that the more you pull kids out, the less they're learning, because it's not like the rest of the room stops. When that kid get pulled out, they didn't stop. They kept going. So what happens when that kid comes back? He might have that, but what is he now? They're behind. And so we are really trying to make it where less and less get pulled out and more can be done inside of the class. But to do that, you got to have better Tier 1 instruction. And that's what we've been working steadily on. Okay. I think Ms. Gonzalez may have some things to say on the superintendent evaluation. I will say this. We can do it. So January 20th is a Monday. January 21st is a Tuesday. Nothing on Wednesday, so we can respect people that go to church. January 23rd is a Thursday. We are going to host, we've already put it on the books to host the community CTE tour that we talked about on the 23rd. But if we want to do the evaluation, we can do that, and then I can go to that when it's done. So it's really up to what works for everybody here on what night that we want to do.
What time is that CT on the 23rd?
We probably will set it around 6 p.m. That's my guess.
January, what, 20th?
23rd. For the
20th is a Monday, I believe. Y'all check me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The 21st is a Tuesday. I stayed off Wednesday. Just out of respect. And I stay off Friday because those are tricky.
Yeah.
And
I could do Tuesday or Thursday. It's fine. Jordan has to get on Monday, but if
Well, the 23rd is the CT. I would not want to do it on that day because this could, I mean.
and y'all will want to be at that
So
too.
the-
Y'all,
yeah, so
I
the
think
21st?
if y'all can be there.
Well,
How's
Monday
everybody?
because the
21st
Tuesday,
I can't.
21st is a
Monday is
Tuesday.
a holiday.
What day is that? Is that
Martin
okay?
Luther King Jr. Day.
All right, so Tuesday or Thursday. What if we?
I'm good Tuesday.
You're good Tuesday.
And it has to be that week?
No, ma'am. That next week we could do it early in the week. I've got to go to that conference towards
Yeah,
the
what
end
time?
of that next week.
What time, when does it, because I wouldn't be able to do it Tuesday. I mean, I
What's
don't-
that?
Oh,
Why can't we do it the 16th, the board meeting?
No, it has, we need to do it separate because it'll take longer
So
this
that's
time.
next week.
what about that same week? That
We could do it
or for
that-
the week?
just like we did last year, Ms. Gonzalez. We did it the very last Thursday of the month, the 30th. We could do
Because
it
when
then.
will you be gone before or after?
So I'm at that conference 27, 28, 29, but I'll be back the night of the 29th. So we could go but that's a Wednesday. We could do the Thursday. That's what we did last year.
I think I can do the 30th then just because you won't be here. Unless.
And that's a Thursday.
Yeah.
Does that work for everybody?
I'm fine with that.
Or let's Burnett, will you write that down?
Yes, sir.
30th.
6 o'clock, Ms. Gonzalez?
6.
Okay, and we'll make sure we got food for y'all on that night. The actual board meeting itself will be Thursday, January 16th. So that's the January board meeting. And
Regular board meeting.
to give you a preview of that, first off, it'll be Board Appreciation Month, which is a good month for y'all because y'all get lots of neat things. But the other thing we're doing, I told the principals I'm giving you tonight off, but on that one, y'all remember when they all talked about the data and the testing they did at the beginning of the year? So they're coming back that night to give you an update of what they do middle of the year as far as data points go and what adjustments they make based on where we're at. So you're kind of going to get throughout the year how we use those tests, those research that data points. And so that's going to happen that night. And I thought that y'all would appreciate that. So they'll be ready to roll for that. The rest of the week, y'all kind of know about. I'll be out tomorrow. I'm at LCU. We've got all of our leadership people are graduating tomorrow, and they've done a really good job. So I'm going to go see them. And then Thursday and Friday, I'll be with my dad. South is at movies today and yesterday, or today and tomorrow. Today and tomorrow, I think. We've got, and I think I sent that on the update. The reason we do the early releases the way they do, I've worked in a lot of districts, and a lot of times, if you've got to get a lot of stuff from your teachers before they go home for the holidays. You've got to get grades in. You've got to get several reports. You've got to make sure that the rooms are kind of shut down so you can conserve electricity. And if you don't do that prior to the day they get out, they're no different than kids. They can't wait to get out those doors just like kids do. And so the way we do our early releases is the Thursday when the kids leave. That's the day that we have staff meetings, we have grades turning, we take care of all that. That way on Friday, once all the kids are home safe, our teachers can go and enjoy their break. So that's why we do it like that. Last thing I have, and I think we're going to talk about it some more, but just to kind of review, and we've talked about it at every board meeting. You know, at the beginning of the year, we went to 2% permanent raise for all employees, and then we had the stipend with the floor of $500, and then we were going to look at doing something in August and December, and that's what I asked of you, because last year I messed up and tried to give everybody what they wanted in August. But they forgot all about it in August. I mean, they forgot about August and December. And that's the one thing I said is whatever we do, let's try to split it. And I have tried to explain to our employees, one, that not every board is able to do this, and two, that this might be the last this happens for a while if the legislative people don't help us. But the same proposal, 1.5% across the board with the $500 floor is kind of where I've set, but I think we're going to talk about that again. Ms. Gonzalez, is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
So we'll come back and hit on that. I will compliment Dan and Melissa and Danielle. They've been, because it's so close, because my whole deal is I want it by Christmas. I want them to be able to spend it by Christmas. They've been working hard to get multiple scenarios ready to roll so that we can get it pushed out to them in time. So thank you. That's all I have. Do y'all have questions for me? Merry Christmas. Not that we're ending, but Merry Christmas. Oh, can I say one more thing?
Yes, go ahead.
SROs, guys, they help out the city as well. And I wanted to recognize y'all. Last night was Boyd, but it's been Flores before. It's been Rocha. And Chief called me this morning. They had a very serious situation last night, and I don't even think they have to call our guys. Our guys call them and ask, hey, do y'all need help? And he was very complimentary of Boyd last night. And like I said, they've all done that, but that's not on the pay. They don't get paid for that. And I mean, I know last night was a scary situation, and our guy did a great job when we were running. I already told him I appreciate that, but I think that shows a lot about our people, and I just wanted them to be recognized for that.
Okay, now we will convene into executive session. The time is 4:41.
Mary Elizabeth, if we're back there for a while, sitting right here.
All right, we're reconvening from closed session. The time now is 5:12. Now we're going to go ahead and go to board action items. First one is deliberation and possible action to approve the retention stipend for December 2024.
Can I say something before you do that?
Yes, go ahead.
Vaguely, I mean, I don't know if I can say it vaguely. I had some other ideas about the stipend. I want everybody to know that it was my idea, my thoughts. So just want that so y'all know. It was my thoughts. So,
No problem.
yeah. Okay, I make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And we present it as,
Well, it's just a stipend.
I know, but do we have to say the amount?
No, I mean, no, it's just it's just a stipend.
You don't have to say the amount.
Aye.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Next one is deliberation and possible action to approve the clarification of grading policy.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
All in favor? I mean,
Aye.
no, sorry. Yeah, all in favor? I'm not confused. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 6-0. There being no further business to come before the board, this meeting is adjourned and the time now is 5:14.
I'm going to go